Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. So today I'm going to talk about a study that was recently done where the study finds that 89% of women regret not leaving marriages sooner. What's interesting is I've started noticing more and more of these type of articles out there because currently the divorce statistics globally are showing a decline in divorce. It's showing that people are actually staying in marriages more, and it's been a pretty significant decline. So when you look at the numbers, it basically has reduced 3.6 per thousand in 2010 down to 2.3 per thousand in recent data as of last year. So that's a pretty significant decline from the peak in 1980 where it was as high as 22.6 per thousand. So you see it's reduced by more than 20 per thousand, which is incredible. However, in this era, which I'm going to call the Snapchat / TikTok era, you have a lot of misinformation out there. And specifically with women, it seems in their late 40s and early 50s, they'll leave in marriages because they're not happy. And the common misconception there is that they think you can get happiness from someone else. Ultimately, psychology tells us that you can only get your happiness from within. Religion tells us that you only get your happiness from serving a higher power or something greater than yourself. So I think what a lot of people are doing in these later stages of life is they're forgetting the fact that, one, as Americans, we have, some of the greatest health structures in the world when it comes to our hospitals and the medications and things. And it is taken too far because basically the sicker you are, the more you're maintaining, then the more medicine you're going to buy, right? So Big Pharma wants you to be customers for life. But what is happening in that is our life expectancy in America has been increasing for decades. Now, what studies have found is in the last 2 decades, there's been some reduction, but that's based on the chemicals and the increase of plastics and sawdust and things like that put in processed foods that we are fed and are, for some reason, not illegal in this country. However, they are illegal elsewhere in the world. So the dyes is the recent thing we can talk about, is all those dyes that were recently banned in this latest Trump administration because of the fact that these dyes are deadly and cause cancers. And in the rest of the world, they were already against the law to be put in food product that people are eating. But think about that too. Food product instead of foods. Meat and vegetables, natural occurring things, is what people should eat. And if you go in the grocery stores, 90% of what is there was not there before 1974. So the majority of what people are eating these days is not even something that was grown naturally or something that actually at one time breathed air, meaning plant and animal. So the study is finding 89% of women regret not leaving marriages sooner, which I questioned the study. It came from a publication called Liberating Motherhood, which, if that suggests that being divorced is liberating, then I would remind everybody to look at the statistics from Follow This Homes and see how that goes for the children. But what women wish they had left their marriages sooner for is because of red flags that led to deeper unhappiness. So the women are not able to make themselves happy. They're not able to lean on faith or something larger than themselves to make themselves happy in these situations. These experts, and I say that with a quote, say persistent issues like emotional neglect, controlling behavior, and contempt can quietly erode relationships over time. So the controlling behavior is one thing that I will speak up to when it comes to being a Christian. The fact that women are supposed to submit to their husbands, this is what's now seen as controlling behavior. Or having any responsible thoughts around finances or housing, those type things, is deemed as controlling behavior, because right now what's being pushed is this nonsense about living in the moment. And the truth of it is nobody can make you happy but yourself. Okay, so if you're trying to get happiness out of a husband or out of a relationship with your husband, then you've got a problem there. Liberating Motherhood's data revealed that 89% of women that regret it said that gradual declines in happiness, which led to health concerns, stress manifesting physically through exhaustion, illness, or chronic discomfort, was the reasons they regret not leaving the marriages sooner, because they feel like they had to constantly walk around on eggshells instead of pursuing personal growth or joy. So nowhere in the Bible does it say that life should be about pursuing joy or personal growth. The expectation is as you go through things and you survive those things, that will give you personal growth pursuant from that life experience. But I think this is an interesting article in the fact that it is going to try to cultivate this line that women are now believing, which is something is better outside of their marriage. So the grass is always greener. And if you don't believe this trend, just watch TikToks. You have women in their 50s dancing around like idiots, like they're in their 20s, becoming side chicks because they left a marriage of 30 years, and now the best they can find is people that use them up on the weekends, which is disgusting. And so these women have broken apart a family. I have more respect for the ones that wait until the children are grown before they do that because of the statistics of what happens to kids in fatherless homes. But the red flags, which used to matter, are now covered up by these new red flags, such as contempt, stonewalling, defensiveness, emotional neglect. And let's see some of the other new words that we're using. The guise of care, gaslighting, and isolation. All this seems like they escalate over time, making it harder for individuals to leave. Recognizing patterns early offers a critical chance to seek help before resentment and disconnection become entrenched. Here's the issue. If you are your husband's biggest fan and he's your biggest fan, you're going to last the test of time. Okay? One of the things I'm most grateful for in my life is that all of my siblings married people who were fantastic people. They will all stay married until death do them part. There's no question in my mind. They grow together. Every last, set of them grow together, and they've had kids that they're raising together to be great people that are caring and do not believe the nonsense that's outside of the home. So I would say this, when it comes to this growing awareness around institutions that are dictating this is what people should be paying attention to now. What I would say is this: if you have this growing awareness, then why not have the awareness focused on you and your husband as a couple? Why not have the awareness to make sure that anything that tries to damage the two of you together, that you get rid of that? Why not have the awareness that all you have to do is watch others and get wisdom from what other people are doing? I watched a set of videos this morning. This lady was in her mid-50s dancing around on the internet. She was so happy because everybody was giving her all these positive comments on her social media. She felt so wonderful because of all that. In the meantime, she's embarrassing her children and grandchildren, all of which are saying, stop putting this stuff out there. She's dancing around in her underwear. This is a woman that's in her late 50s or mid-50s. And, the husband, of course, has moved on and married another woman who's actually a decent human being that's not trying to be internet popular. And this woman, in her last videos, is crying about being a side piece and going to be by herself forever because she can't find somebody that cares about her and all these things because she chose to walk away from a relationship, a marriage of 30 years, because she was not happy. So I think what therapists need to be advocating is early education around what is happiness and where it comes from. You can't get that from outside. Okay, the grass is not always greener. It's rarely greener. And that comfort that makes you feel how you are, if you start focusing, and this is the biggest issue with modern culture, people don't focus on the things they're grateful for. They focus on their complaints and what they dislike. So you may have 9 things out of 10 that are absolutely wonderful and are better than what everyone else on the planet has, but you're too busy focusing on that one thing out of 10 that's not exactly how you want it or not up to snuff in your own mind. So I would say if you're going to talk about education and intervention, my suggestion around education would be learning about healthy relationship dynamics and trying to create emotional wellness as a family unit, emotional strength as a family unit. And if you do those things, then the years as they go by, it should get better every single year, especially if you come from a position of gratitude. And that's what I would suggest. Reading this stuff is nonsensical. The statistics are showing that people, especially Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z, they're staying married because we grew up in a society where divorces happened all the time because people were selfish and put themselves first. When you think before the baby boomer generation, parents had stuff that they put aside to leave to their kids. And then the baby boomers came along and all they did was consume, consume, consume. Family wealth across the country dropped. Statistics around just the straight de-evolution of humankind, crime statistics and everything else went through the roof. Things got terrible because you had this generation of people that were holistically selfish and did not put their kids, above themselves. Weren't thinking, I want my kids to do better than I have. I want my kids to have what they need to start in life. I want my kids to be financially secure and have an education that matters. That came second to, I want my joy. I don't want to be in this anymore. He's abusive. She's abusive. Everybody's abusive. Abuse became a word where anything that a person didn't like was now called abuse. And courts across the country actually tried to normalize that in the 80s and 90s. And what you see now is a shift going back against that. So just wanted to call this out, this nonsense about 89% of women regret not leaving marriages sooner. That's talking about the women that file for divorce. 80% of divorces are started by the women. What the study is not telling you is what they feel 5 to 10 years later. So interesting study. I hope this was useful to you. If not, when people are talking about regret for staying in something too long, well, when you get into a marriage, you say until death do us part. So that should be the expectation. If you're changing expectations along the way and it seems to be one-sided, maybe you need to look at that. Maybe you need to look at yourself and look at the relationship and then try to have an attitude of gratitude and change the way you're looking at things. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I'm Ben. Hopefully this is useful to you. If you enjoyed it, please like, please subscribe. Be good.